Hi, this is a LaTeX tutorial for beginners, intermediate, and advanced users. And I'm Puya, a PhD student at Sabanci University in manufacturing program. And the purpose of this tutorial is to help our grad students to get familiar with LaTeX and write their thesis in the LaTeX template. Since we might have beginner here, I will go first with an introduction, and also I will go through the thesis template of the university, and then I will show you all the details. Before going through the tutorial, I should mention that this tutorial is useful for both students and also faculty members, and I hope you enjoy it. So, and here you can see the timeline and the specific time for each section. So if you don't need the some parts, some basic stuff, you can directly skip the other ones and go to the part that you needed. So let's begin. Because of these reasons that you can see here on the screen and many other reasons, it's better and recommended to use LaTeX template for your thesis. If you go with the LaTeX, it might be a little bit difficult at the beginning since you're not familiar with it, but with this tutorial, definitely I can guarantee that you don't have that feeling anymore and you can easily go with it. You can use Microsoft Word for short documents like reports, presentations, and I don't know, lab reports. But when you go with the more complex and longer text, it's better to use LaTeX for your own benefit. And here you have your thesis in front of you to write, and it's a long document, and that's why LaTeX would be better. So you can see why I'm insisting on that. Okay. For the ones that they are already trying to write their thesis, so there's no other option unless you go with the tutorial and write your thesis. So it's not bad because you can understand it and you can just do it. For the ones that they are going to have their thesis in the future to write, I suggest to learn it from now on. I suggest you to push your supervisors if you're a student, and I suggest you to push your students to do that if you are a faculty member. And the first step is to know how to work with LaTeX, and it has different actually platforms. The first one is online, which I'm going to use it today since it's easier to use, and all the packages are installed and you can easily use it. So the only thing that you need is to have an internet connection and also an Overleaf account. So you can, if you don't have it, you can create it, and to be able to enter the environment. And if you don't have it and you want to follow the instructions, just pause the video and go create the account, because I'm going to use it today in this tutorial. Other offline versions are here listed. I will send you somehow these slides so we can use hyperlinks to go directly to that web page. The one that I myself use it is Text Studio, which I find is very useful. The other ones, I never tried them, but I just put them here so you can try them if you want. So if you go to the Overleaf website and you create your account, you will see such an interface in the website. So it is Overleaf, and in the left hand side I'm just going to show you the interface because you are going to use it today. Here in the left hand side you have the new project that you will use it for creating a new project, and also in here you can see your projects, shared with you projects, and archived projects, trash projects, and other stuff that you can create. So if I want to create a new project, so let's go from the very scratch. When I create a new project, it can give me a blank project. It can open an example project. You can upload your project. You can import from GitHub, and also you can find the templates in academic journals, book, formal letter, and other stuff here, and also thesis. But the one that you are going to use for the first part would be the blank project, and for the thesis would be upload project, since we have a template already. So let me go back to the slides here. So when you create when you want to create a project from the scratch, you should know that it should have a template which includes the definition of document class and the actually packages that you are going to use. We call it preamble part, and also you need to have the begin and document environments. I will explain all of them. Here I should mention that if you use slash, it means that you are going to use a command, and after slash you just use that command. In front of the command you can have square brackets and curly brackets. In the actually square bracket, it is the options that you can use in that actually comment, and in the curly bracket you need to put the actually obligatory or required arguments here. So, and I should mention that these document class can be article, report, letter, beamer, book, and other stuff. It depends on the, for example, for the journal, you have another type of document class that it is provided with the template. So you don't need to be worried about this stuff. So just be careful that you have all of these document class packages and begin and document, and we will fill out all of these. So if I create a new project, a blank project in Overleaf, it asks me to select a name for it. So first LaTeX project, let's say. It will be created, and it will direct you to the environment of actually that document. The document class is article for the default version, and you have one package used, which is the input encoder, and also the title, author, date, and other stuff. But the thing that I mentioned, begin and document, should be there. So what are the packages? Some of them are for creating formulas, some of them are for importing figures and importing tables, compiling, and other stuff. So you need to use proper packages for different reasons. For example, if I want to include the hyperlink on my text, I need to have this hyperref package. So you can find them online. And before going further, I want to just show you how to find these details. The best thing to do is to go with Overleaf documentation. So this is the best reference that I can tell you to go through if you need anything. So in the left hand side, you can find the basics, mathematics, figures, tables. I will explain all of them, but for the ones that you still need, you can go through it. So here you can find a very short introduction and learn it by yourself. Okay, let's move on. For defining a title, you need to use comment title, and you write the title here. And the author can be defined, and the date, and at the end, as I can show you in actually first project that we created. The title is defined this way. The author date can be changed. It can be today. If you want to use the date of the today, you can just use the comment today. So you need to use backslash today. So as you can see, when I use backslash, it gives me some options. So as I write down my actually comment, it will just actually give me other options. So to be able to create that file, you see here the editor and also the compiled version here. So I need to compile this document to create it. If you want to compile it, you can just click on recompile here, and it will be recompiled. As you can see here, the date is changed. And if I just want to undo it, so I use Ctrl-V, back to normal. So if I compile it again, when you move your pointer on top of it, you can see the shortcut. So I can use Ctrl-Enter to compile this, so you can see the change here, December 22. So when I use Ctrl-Enter, it will be changed based on the change that I apply here. So before going further, I just want to show you the environment here. When you click on menu, you can see all the options that you have here. So you can just download the source of the file that you have created. So it will take the text file and all the other details. Or you can just download the PDF version that is compiled already. Other actions that you can do is to copy the project. You can use the word count. For example, I just try it here. It will give you the word count, how many words you have, and the headers. So here, as you can see, it doesn't take the title. It goes with the text itself. So I have headers, like one header here, which is the title, and another one is the section, introduction section. You can synchronize it with Dropbox, Git, or GitHub, which you might not need it at this level. And the compiler, I suggest you to use this PDF LaTeX, which will give you the PDF version. And you can change the TechLive version, which is the package compiler that Overleaf is using. So you can go to the other versions as well, but the last version would be the best one. Main document. So here you see that I have a main.txt file that I'm just working on that. So to add more details, we are going to add more files here when it's required. Let's say if the photo, for example, figure, or other files that are necessary that I will explain. So if you just choose the main document here, when you compile your file using Ctrl-Enter, it will actually Overleaf takes this .tex main .tex file, or the main document here actually, and compile that file. You can define the spell checker for different languages, and autocomplete, I suggest you to keep it on, because when you create something, for example here, if I want to add a package, for example, so backslash to enter a command, the command would be using a package, so I use package. So here you can see that if I use, it gives me the options, and if I just press enter, it will actually apply the one that is highlighted with blue. And the autocomplete is for these brackets. So it can be the square brackets or curly brackets. So I just remove this one. What else is code check? Keep it keep it as on. And editor theme, you can just change it. It changes the color code of the text here and also the environment. For the editor theme or overall theme would be it can be, since I'm using black theme, it's taking the theme of my browser, or you can just go with light. So I just change it. You can see the difference. And for this editor theme, I just go to terminal, and I also go back to TextMate. Okay. And key binding, you don't need it. Font size, you can change this font size of the editor this way. So if I change it, you can see the difference here. And font family, doesn't matter whatever you use, it's okay. Line height, it can be compact, so I just change it to see the difference here. Wide or normal, so you can go with normal. I'm just showing you the options that you have. And hotkeys, you can see what are the shortcuts here, so you can make it easier for you to use. For example, for commenting out some lines, you can use Control and actually slash, or you can use Control Z for undoing something and Control Y for redoing. It's very similar to other softwares. And what else? Control F for find text, so you can check it out, all of them here. So that's with this menu here, and here you can see the file. So you can create a new file. When you click on that, it asks you for the name of the file and format of the file, so you can create it that way. You can create a folder here. Again, it asks you for the name, or you can upload something here. You can just go on the file and rename it with this one, or delete it. You can also do that, rename, delete, or other stuff by clicking on these three dots next to the files. And if you click on this arrow here, it's like you are going to out of this directory. It's like you are in a folder, and this file is inside that folder. And when you click on that, it takes you out of that folder. So you can go to the main page, and it shows you the project that you already have, all the projects that you have. So I can just click on that and go back to the project. What else? These arrows, you can just make the full screen for the editor, or take it back, or the PDF version, you can just expand it or split the screen. Recompile, as I just explained, you can just see other options here, auto-compile or off. I suggest you not to use auto-compile because it takes time if it goes like compiling with any change that you do here. So put it on off and just compile it yourself. Here is the list of logs and output files. So if you have an error, you can find out what is the error and how you can fix it. It's a little bit complicated, but you might guess what to do. And here you can just click on this and download the PDF that you are seeing here. Other stuff here, you can have your chat history, submit to a journal or whatever. So normally you're not going to use it. You can share the document though with someone else, like your supervisor or your student. And the review is for the actually normal account, it doesn't work. But if you have the premium account, you can just turn the changes on, and you can just actually, it's like a track change or change track in Microsoft Word. So I click again and it disappears. Another thing, if you move your pointer in this corner, top left, you can see this actually fit to the page and zoom in, zoom out buttons here. So that is also another useful thing. Okay. So you're familiar with the interface now. I'm going to continue with the slides. So you create your title page, and all the details here before begin document is going to be kind of a definition. So none of them are going to be used in the text or shown in the text unless you actually define it inside the document environment. So what is the environment? Anything between begin and end would be an environment. For example, this one is a document environment. So all the things inside the document environment will be appeared in the final version and the compiled version. So how am I seeing this one? Is like this. I'm using a section introduction. You can see that, and also I'm using a make title. So whatever you see here are the definitions of this make title, and this comment here is just creating all the details defined here, right? Okay. So there are some special characters I should mention here, since you are using backslash, for example, to create a comment here. How can I write the backslash itself? I need to just use a comment for that, since if I just write backslash and compile, it doesn't work. So I need to write down the name. So text backslash. So I go with text backslash and compile it. So you can see the actually backslash here as a text. Or the percent, if I put a percent here, it will be used as a actually to take a note or commenting out some text here, so it doesn't work anymore. So let me just write a text which is more visible, compile it, and you can see the text here. If I use the percent sign and compile it again, then the text is not there anymore. So I'm using percent sign for actually commenting out some comments. So if I use tilde would be used for forcing some space. So if I put some space here and I compile, it will take one actually space in between, as you can see here. But if I want to, so even if I just make more space here in the editor, it doesn't work. It just takes it as one space. So if I want to create more space there, I need to use tilde. This is one way to create space. I will tell you the other ways later on. So when I compile, I have 4 or 5 spaces here, and you can see the effect in here. So for writing tilde itself, I need to use backslash text ASCII tilde. So you can try the rest yourself. And here you see the font size and font face and also alignments that I'm going to talk about. In LaTeX, unlike Microsoft Word, you should define the font face yourself with comments. It might be looking like somehow frustrating to do it all the time, but it's not a big deal, so you can do it easily. And there are some shortcuts for that. For example, for EM, PH, or emphasize, or you can also use text IT, italic. I can just show you how it works. So I can just select my text, Control B. So it is like very similar to Microsoft Word. So you can just compile and it takes it as text boldface, so the other one. And I can just make this one italic, for example. It's select the text, Control I, it makes it italic, which is very similar to, let me just zoom a little bit, yeah. And also you can use other ones yourself and see the results. Font size, let me just, or it would be better if I just add a text here. So let me just write a long text to copy. So let's copy this text here in my, yeah, okay. And here, I just compile, and you can see that here. And as you can see, I have like space here And after paste, you can see that with the when I hit the enter, it goes to the next line in the editor, but in the real file, it doesn't go. And it has only one space between the characters. Okay, so what else? Font size, yeah. So you can just try to use curly brackets, and inside that curly brackets you can use tiny, for example, or other command. So let's try tiny here, and the rest of the text. How it works is like, let's do it on this one. So I just create a curly bracket, tiny, and I put this text in front of it. So wherever I put this end curly bracket, it applies text until that point. So let's go with more. Let's put the curly bracket here. Then I apply it, and you see that the text is changed this way. Okay. Or you can try another one. Let's go with large, for example, with one capital L. So that's how it works. For the alignment, so if I want to put something in alignment, so before going through that one, I want to show you the paragraph. If I want to create a paragraph, let's say I'm done with this one up to here, and I want to go to a new paragraph. If I press enter one time, it doesn't work, as I showed you earlier. If I put an empty line between those and compile it again, you can see that it is actually Overleaf takes it to another line, and it has an indentation to show the actually it's a new paragraph. So let's say I create another paragraph randomly, and I want to, so I will show the whole text here so you can see it easier. Okay, so let's say I want to create a title for this one, and you can see it here, and I want to put it in the middle. So I can just go with some environment. You can use centering, flush right, flush left. I suggest you to use the environment, centering environment, flush right environment, or flush left environment. So you can just write begin, and inside it I just say centering, so center environment. So you can find out what type of command it is. It is env, which is short form of environment. So when I click on that, so automatically it creates the begin and end, and you can just move the text here and compile it again, and you see that it is in the middle. Or let's go with flush right. Flush right. When I modify the first one, the other one doesn't change, so it goes with flush right. So you need to remove this one and put the text here. Right? Sorry. Flush right. Begin flush right. Yeah, I forgot to put T here. Yes. Yeah, you can see that it's on the right side. And another thing, when you use this environment, it puts a blank line above and before and after the text. Okay. So what else? For the margins, we can use geometry for defining the geometry or the margins of the paper that you're using. For example, here, if I just go to the full version, you see the margin here. If I want to modify this margin, I need to define the use package geometry, and I can define the margin. Let's just copy this one here, since we tried all of them so far. Let's try this one as well. Just put backslash and curly bracket and compile. Yeah, so you can see the margin is changed accordingly. Okay, so if I want to have a blank, to go to a new paragraph, I use a blank line, I already told you. If I want to go to a new line, I need to use double backslash. Let's say here, for example, if I use double backslash, you can see that here I have this, and the double backslash, you can see that after compiling the file, here I will have the blank line. For putting a new page, or let's say I want to, after this, I want to have a new page, so I just write new page, command, control, enter, and the rest of the page would be blank, and the rest would be transferred to the next page. So I just want to uncomment this one, so we can get used to this stuff. I already told you, use % sign for commenting out something, tilde spacing if it's like more than one, so you don't need to, like, if you need some specific length of space, you can do it with this command h space, which is for horizontal, and v space for vertical. Let's say I want to put some space here. I try to use h space here, and it works with inch and centimeter or millimeter. Let's go with 2 centimeters, for example, here, and you can see the difference here. So this change here, or for this page here, for example, I want to add vertical space for 5 centimeters, and you can see that this distance, this space has been created. If I have, so I just remove this one. If I have a text and I want to just fill out my page, I can just put some space. I don't know how much I should put, but so I can just use this H fill, which is for horizontal fill or vertical. I need it here. And when you press Control Enter, it fills out the space between 2 texts here that you have until it fills out the whole page, until the margin. So this is also useful sometimes. So these comments that I'm explaining here are just for your information, so you get familiar with the very useful comments when you're modifying your text in your thesis. If you need a bulleted list or numbered list, you can use these environments, itemize and enumerate. Let's create 2 here. So I just remove, or let's not do it, so you can see how it feels. So I want to add a list here. So I go with backslash, begin, itemize, and one item, another item, right? And I also create a begin document enumerate. So I can just select the second one. So it automatically will create the end part. So something here, another item again, right? When I compile it, you can see the 2 list created here. Bulleted and numbered. If you want to change the bullet type, you just need to use curly bracket here. Let's say I want to have a dash line, for example. So use double dash here. You can just Google to find out how you can change this dash line. Sorry. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to use sections. Okay, I want to show you the sections here. How to create a section. Let's say I want to just go in the middle and take one text here and start a section from there. So the first section you have created by default, when you open a new project, it will be created. So if you want to go to a text inside your file, so you just need to double click in Overleaf to be directed to that text. So when I click in a paragraph, anywhere on the paragraph will direct you to the beginning of that paragraph in the text editor side. So here on the section, I just click on introduction, double click, and it will direct me to the editor, and it shows me the section. So it shows me the detail that here it is a section. When you create a section, so I just show it in the slides. You can have part, chapter. This chapter is only for books and reports, document class, but it means that in article class, document class, you don't have it, so you don't expect this chapter. And section, subsection, subsection, paragraph, and subparagraph. You can use all of them. And how it works in a standard way, based on the document class that you're using, the font face and font size and everything, or even the color might be different, but they are actually consistent through all the text. So all the chapters or sections are with the same size and font face and other stuff. Okay, so here, if I want to see the number of the section next to it, I should use section. If I don't want to see the number, I just add one star after the comment section. When I compile this one, you can see that the number will be gone. And also, if you have a table of content, it doesn't show it in the table of content. So table of content will take the real sections. So let's recompile this one, and I want to create a section here and put this to poor doing it. It's like section. I put this one there, Control X. Recompile. So you can see the second section here. I will go with a subsection here. So let's just cut this text here. And you can just continue to see how the subsection works. And if it's the table of content, you want to have it in your document, you need to use this table of contents. A list of tables will show you the list of tables, and so on and so forth. Another thing would be footnote. How it works. You only need to write footnote and backslash footnote inside the text, and it will there will be some comment. So let's do it so it will be easier to understand.
let's say I want to put a footnote here related to this text, for example. Just go with backslash footnote, and I just write some information about that part, and when I compile the text, you can see that footnote that I added here, and inside the text you can see this number which is related to this footnote. Okay, now it's time for the math typing. For math typing, let's say I want to add an equation. I just go, let's say I want to add some equation here. How do you do that? It's either using $sign inside the text, so it's inline math mode. When you use $sign, it will go with the with the height of the text in that line. If you go with double $sign, it will go in the middle. So let's say here in the text, I use $sign in the text. So I should just put a space here to just make it visible. And let's say x plus y, for example. When I do that, when I compile it, you see x plus y in the text height here. If I use double $sign here, sorry, here one more. Come on. Yes. Control Enter, and you see it's out of line now. But there is no equation number in front of it. If you want to have equation number, you should use the equation environment actually. So let's do it here. I just erase this one. I go with begin equation. Similar to section, if you use equation star, it doesn't give you the number. If you use equation and just define something, it will give you one number, and for that actually equation. And another thing which is very useful for writing your thesis, especially for engineering students or math students, it's this label here. For example, I just call it define a label for my equation, backslash label. Let's say you can define this label for equations, figures, and also tables. So it's better to just define the labels in a smart way. Let's say for equations you use EQ double dot something. Let's say 1, for example, or whatever. It can be Einstein, for example. So this label can be used in the text. Let's say I want to write in equation. Alright, let me just go with capital. So make it more visible this way. In equation, I want to refer to that equation. I can use backslash ref command, and when you hit enter, it will give you all the available labels. So here I have one. In your thesis you might have more, so that's why if it's an equation, it's better to go with EQ. So when you write it down, it will shortlist the options that you have, and you can more easily find it. Einstein. And I compile it. You can see that in front of in equation number 1, which is exactly this number, you can just refer to that equation actually. And there is no limitation for the length of this label, so you can define it as you like it. Okay, back to slides. For here you can see some useful comments for math typing. So if you want to write a number, you just put it inside the environment. And for square roots, you can use this sqrt command. For fractions, you can use frac or defrac, and so on and so forth for integral and other stuff. You can find a full list in Overleaf, or you can use this link here to find all the available symbols, math symbols in Overleaf. And here you see more advanced math typing, so you can easily, even I don't know some of them by heart, so all the time I just Google what I need and it will give me the example how to, for example, put some letter underneath the equal sign, for example. How can I create a big size matrix in LaTeX, or how can I put some curly bracket under character inside a formula, for example. So this is how you can Google it and find it out. Okay, you can also write algorithms easily. Actually, it looks better in LaTeX, I can say. And another important thing is using floats, which is referring to figures and tables, since they are just floating inside text. So you can, based on the template, they might ask you to, not for the university here, but in some journals, they might ask you to just put all the figures at the bottom of the page or at the top of the page. So you should be able to define all the actual figures on top or bottom. So here it's the environment of a float, which is a figure or table. And in front of the first curly bracket, you can see this square bracket, which is a place specifier, and you can use these characters here to define it. Here you see an example. So you put the actually placement specifier here. H means here, and it is a figure environment, and the details inside this figure should be include graphics, which will take the file that you are you already have in your computer, and here in curly brackets it defines the size of the figure. For example, here it is half of the text width, and the caption is can be under the figure or above the figure. It depends where you put it. If it's after include graphics, it will be underneath. If it's before after include graphics, it will be before the figure. And the label works the same way as in equations, so you can just label the figures this way and put the name in front of that and refer to them in the text. The same thing would be for table, and for the table, I will show you the figure example in the thesis template. For the table also, I will explain it in the thesis template how it works, but for the basic stuff, I can just explain it in general, that you still have this placement specifier, and you can define the alignment. At the beginning, it can be centering. This alignment can be used for figure as well, and the caption can be defined, and the label can be defined after all of these. As you can see here, the caption is before begin tabular, so the caption will be before the table. And inside the table environment, you should have a tabular environment, and that's how it works here. So when you have these vertical lines, they are showing the vertical lines here. So in general, you can define
one vertical line, one vertical line. So you have two vertical lines, one right aligned text, double vertical line again, one center, one vertical line, another center aligned to the vertical line. So in the horizontal direction, you can define one line, horizontal line, backslash H line. This T goes for the first column. And sign will separate the columns. So it means that when I have and sign, I go to another column. So column 1, another and sign, and I go to another column. When you have double backslash, it goes to the next line. So I have defined T for the first column, column 1 for the second column, and column 2 for the third column. I go to the next line. I define two horizontal lines here, and I go with other stuff. So backslash, it goes to the next line, to A21, A22, and so on and so forth. But an easy way to create a table is to go to tablegenerator.com. So here I show you how it works. Right. Here, many people use this one. So you can easily create a table here. So you can define, let's say, A, B, or A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I want to create this table, and I want to just have all border around it. What else? I can create a merged version here, for example, and I can just put a number here, like 7 and 8, and you can just make them centered or not. So if you want to make them all centered, you can just click on this, or you can just make this one left aligned, for example. When you're done with the table, you generate it. Here you can see the first code. If you change anything here and generate, it will change accordingly. It will give you the required packages. Here it says, please add the following required packages to your document preamble. So I need to use package multi-row. So I just copy this one inside my first project, add the preamble type here. Then I just copy the rest of the code, begin and other stuff, Control C, and let's say I want to put it here, take somewhere here. Another there. Let's go with this one. So it gives you the table environment and tabular environment, although it's not actually aligned, so you can just align it. You can select and press tab to change the alignment. It doesn't matter in any, either way it works. So you compile it, Control Enter, and you see the table here. Since I haven't defined anything here in the placement, it puts it on top. So I just say here, and it will be exactly after completely, the word completely here. Then to make it more stable, we can put an exclamation mark here. And also, if I want to make it center, just write centering. Right? That's how it works. Okay, so there is no caption and other stuff. You can just add those. I just wanted to show you how it works. Now, for the captions, I already explained that you need to put the captions inside the environment and the label for referring to those things. and use \ref and use that label to refer to that equation, figure, or table. Okay, another important part in LaTeX is bibliography. So for the bibliography file, you are going to create a new file here, which is like bibliography. The name can be anything. The important thing is the format, which should be .bib. When you create it, it will be created here, empty. For each reference that you are going to refer during your text, which is your thesis in this case, you need to include this @ article or book or I don't know, online or other stuff, so you can find the bibliography documentation for the in the Overleaf, and you can see the other options that you have. But the most important thing is how to define it. But don't worry, because you don't need to memorize all of these and define them all the time. The only thing that you do, let's say I'm going to find a reference online, and here let's say Google Scholar, and let's search for this one, for example. Okay, in Google Scholar I have all of these files. Now I want to refer to this paper, for example, and here you see the cite option. When you click on that, when you click on BibTeX, it gives you that code that I showed you. So you can just copy that one into that bib file. So you can continue adding them. Let's go with another one. So I want to cite this one as well. BibTeX, copy, and paste. So you can continue adding them. So here, for example, it's a proceeding, and here this one is an article, and it can be a book, it can be an online reference, whatever. And the thing that you need to know is this name here in front of @article, inside, the first thing that you see after the curly bracket is the tag or label of that citation. So how can I go with the citation? I go to my text file and I want to refer to some reference. So let's go back there. And I need to add some stuff to be able to, so I need to let me just show you. Let's say I want to refer to that paper here. Just say \cite is the command that I need to use. Inside that one, I can see the list of the actual references that I already have. You saw that I added 2, so you can just select one of them. And the tag will be added here. When I just press Control Enter to compile, in this text, at the end of the text here, you see in front of yes, I have a curly bracket with question mark, which means that the actually compiler is not able to recognize the reference. What is the reason is because I have not defined the bibliography style and the detail. How do I do that? You need to actually write down, define the bibliography style. So the bibliography style can be anything based on the documentation. So I go to bibliography style. I'm just doing it this way so you can follow and find out how you can do it yourself. The bibliography styles, you can select any of them based on the need that you have.
So although in the template you already have all of these defined. So you can find an example here. I have an article. I need to just add these packages here. So if I want to have actually this include this references in table of content, I should add this one. So I only need this package here. I should add it to my preamble. What else? And I need to use this one at the end, where I want to just print out the bibliography. So what should the style that I'm using here is unsort, and the file name should be bibliography, since I have a file name here as bibliography. I change this sample to bibliography, and when I compile it, you can see the references is automatically added, and that question mark is not question mark anymore, and it will be the same as the number in the references. So it can change according to the text. So this number can change accordingly. Let's say this one is 1. If I add another reference here, site, I go to site, and this time instead of site, so I go with chow. So, and I compile it again. So I'm expecting to have this in here around the rainbow. So I just compile it again. 1 and 2. Now it's changed. So the order is changed. So that's how you can just add the details of the references here. And here are some useful web pages. This tutorial is enough for you when I finish with the thesis template. But if you need any more references, you can go with LaTeX tutorial, which is the best one, LaTeX tutorial, and also Overleaf tutorial. And the best way to master using this LaTeX is to practice and practice and practice. The way that you can practice is to try to do your homeworks or lab reports, for example, or assignments in your courses using LaTeX. At the beginning, it's hard, but if you spend some time, you will feel more comfortable with that, and it will be actually easier for you when you get to the point of writing your thesis. For the ones that they didn't do it, don't worry, you can easily find out what to do when you go with the thesis template. In order to use your thesis template, you need to download it from MySU. You go to Roadmap and you download the provided template by university. And when you download that file, it's a zip file. The name should be similar to this one. And we want to work with this template now. Before going through that template, I just want to show you one thing in the thesis handbook, which is also actually available in that roadmap. When you open that thesis handbook, it tells you, if it opens, yes, it tells you about all the details that you need to take care about when you write your thesis. Everything about the format, the paper type, the margins, spacing, and indentation, and also front matter, which is title page, approval page, and the required ones, optional one. Also the chapter heading, the text type, footnotes, everything. If you want to write your thesis in Microsoft Word format, you need to go through all the details here and check out how it should be.
But if you use it in a thesis template, all of these are already applied, and you don't need to be worried about those. One thing here I need to mention is about the bibliography style here. For the graduate School of Social Sciences, FOS students, they need to use Chicago 16 bibliography style, which is already applied to their template. For grad students in FENS, Natural Sciences and Engineering School, and also Graduate School of Management, both of them, they need to go with APA bibliography style, which is already applied to their template. So this is what you need to actually consider. Okay, so with the templates, as I told you before, if I want to go with a predefined template and I go to a new project and I upload that project using this, and I can just drag and drop that zip file here, and it will be imported to Overleaf, to your account, of course. Nobody has access to this one. So I just downloaded this template from actually Overleaf. When it's open, you can see different folders and a lot of files in there. So, and now I'm going to go through them one by one. Okay. There are two templates, one for master students. This template, as you can see here in the editor, is actually prepared by Mert Moral in Faculty of Social Sciences, and so that's why it is MA, Master of Art. But it is since it's using the APA bibliography style, it can be used for FENS students as well, and also management students as well. So this is a master and this is a PhD. There are not much difference other than the here masters and some details at the front matter. I will go through all of these details in the text, so I just show you how you are able to modify these and which parts are necessary to know and which comments and which details you need to be careful about when you are preparing your thesis, right? And you have everything here. You can just sometimes you need to modify them, or you need to just eliminate them like appendices if you don't have them in your thesis. You can just actually delete them or rename them. Nothing will change. I will go with the PhD. So I open it up. You can see the bib file here, PhD library. You can see the APA6 BSD, which is for bibliography style file. And I click on that. It's a long, complicated file. You don't need to be worried about that. It's nothing. But you need to have it there because the file that you are using, it's using that file for compilation. For APA PhD style is another file that you need to have it. I will go through it. And the main file, as you can see here, the main document is this LaTeX PhD sample. So I just change it so it just compile the file that they want. And this one is the PDF, which is actually after compiling file, it will be created. So you can just delete it. It doesn't matter. It will be created again. Then you compile the text here. currently. So it's being compiled. And other folders, so you see that it is created and you can just download it. So you don't need to have that PDF over there. What else do you have? The folder, front matter, chapters that I will go through them one by one here. Okay, let's start with the APA PhD sample. So I want to just rename it. Okay. Say my thesis, for example. And I can change this one to my thesis, which is already changed since I changed the name. Okay, in right hand side, you see the thesis title, the author, and the year. You need to be careful about these years because some of them are already defined for the current year, but some of them they should be changed. As I explained in the introduction, you need to start your document with a document class. Here it is book, and there are some options inside that, square brackets, which defines some details. It is A4 paper, one-sided, because it's a thesis, and you need to go with one-side one-side paper when you print it out. And you can just make it, so this one, 12 point is the size of the font throughout the thesis. And this LEQNO is left equation number. It might be useful for fast students, but for FEN students, you need to have it right aligned. For example, here, if I have an equation, which I don't have here in this text, so let's create one. So I go to the text, and let's put one equation here. So I go with begin equation, and let's go with x plus y is equal to, I don't know, 1, for example. Control Enter to compile. It will be created. So here you can see that my equation number is in the left hand side and it's in the first chapter, so the number would be the first equation of the first chapter, right? So if I want to put it on the right side, I go up there. So, since I double click here, it directed me to the related text, right? And that text is in this chapter 1, chapter PhD chapter file. So if I just open it up, chapter 1 text. So if all of these texts are available in .text files, which can be the main file or the actually related text file. So if I want to go back to that my thesis text, so I just click on my thesis and I just change this one to R equation number, right equation number. Control Enter to compile again, and you can see here the left aligned number will be changed to right aligned number. So that's how you can change the right aligned or left aligned numbered equation. The rest would be the packages in preamble and the rest of the stuff that I will explain right now. The first package that is used is APA_PhD, which is that APA PhD style file here. So it's kind of a subcategory of these packages, because when you click on this style, you can see other packages that are used. So this one is calling the other one and using these packages as well, which is for hyperref and color and other stuff, right? So this is good to know because sometimes you need to change it. For example, here, bibliography style, as I told you, for you, it should be APA, and the shape of the references would be based on the APA bibliography style, which is this way. And if you refer to something in the text, it can be shown this way with the hyperlink. So when you click on that reference, it will direct you to the reference section to that specific reference. Anyway, I will get back to that. Okay, so this is for a preamble in the main My Thesis text. So this is for tables, subscripts, and other packages that you don't need to be worried about those. When I go down, glossaries, title, table of content, so these are the things that you can see here. Table of content and bibliography, set length, which is defining some set length. It's according to the template. You shouldn't change them actually. And if it somehow seems complicated, don't worry, you don't need to work with these stuff. The only things that you need to modify is these text files inside it. I just explained this to show you how to go to the related parts that you need to modify. Okay, so when you scroll down, so this part before begin document, as I told you before, will be the preamble. So after document class, until begin document, it would be preamble. So these details will define the actually title page and other related parts. Title page, and I don't know, actually the details about the table of content, and also dedication page, this table of content and everything. So then I go to the document, inside the document. So then here you see the thesis title that should be modified. I can write so it should be in boldface. That's why you're using BF series, boldface series. Make uppercase, it shows that you can write anything. This is my thesis title, for example. When I compile it, even if you write it in lowercase format, it will be in uppercase here because you're using this make uppercase command. By who the author would be, dissertation author is you, submitted to Graduate School of Social Sciences. You need to, if you are a fancy student, you need to change this one. And also Doctor of Philosophy. In the other format for master students, this one is different. So it's for master degree. Sabanci University, and May, the year is the command of just using the year, so you can just change this one to write the date. So I can comment out. The shortcut for comment out is just use Control/. So I can just write the actually I can write, for example, December 22nd, and the day is not important, 2021, for example. So you can change the date accordingly, as you can see here, December 2021. And here, again, it asks for the thesis title. You double click on that. It directs you to the PhD information text, which is in front matter folder. So you just need to double click. If I want to change this one, double click on this one. It directs me to my thesis. So I understand that, okay, this information is mentioned in here. If I double click on this one, I again write down this is my thesis. Control Enter to compile, so you can see the change here. And your name of the name of your supervisor, double click on that. It will direct you here, X, Y, so you can just modify this. And all the other ones, approved by this date is important, so you can change the date here. Date of approval, it can be today, it can be anything. So you can modify it accordingly. I go to next page. Here you shouldn't change it. Actually, yes, you shouldn't change that part. Abstract. The thesis title should be mentioned here. So you double click again. It will direct you to this PhD abstract. So you can change this one, the title, thesis title, the author and other stuff here, right? And all the details. So these spacing and other details shouldn't change. Okay, and we go down, acknowledgements. It's optional based on the guideline, thesis guideline, so you can change these. And I go to the next one, dedication page. You double click on that. Here you see direct you to the dedication page, and you can change it. It is this flash right environment is for aligning to the right side, and the pages will be changed automatically. You don't need to be worried about that. And table of content, you double click on that. This table of content is in the main text, so only this comment will create this thing, and it's using all the information in here. Okay, we continue, and the table of content, it's using the hyperlink, so when you move your pointer on top of each section, you can just be directed to that section. After that, list of tables. This one also has the hyperlink to the table, so when I click on that, it will direct me to the table, related table. And then I go back, table of figures, also hyperlink, and also pages. Here you see the list of abbreviations that when I double click on that, it directs me to list of abbreviations, which is printed out here. But for these abbreviations, I will tell you how it works. So this is printed in this comment here, in this part. But you have another part for defining. So you go up there until you reach to the before begin document line. You have these abbreviations defined as glossaries in this thesis template. Okay, I recommend you to just use these separation line, or you can just write down glossaries to make it easier for yourself, and also finish it here. Right? So just separate it this way. If you want to add more glossaries, let's say I want to add one more glossary. So it should be before this make no IDX glossaries. I can say, I don't know, CHR, let's say CPF, for example, whatever. And I just change the name to CPF. I don't know what it is. The description, it can be anything, right? The thing that I want to tell you, when you compile this file, I added one glossary, new glossary to the list, but nothing will be added here. How it's going to be added here,
It's when you use that glossary. So the hyperlink in the glossary, the abbreviation part, is on the page number. So when you click on that, page 5, you can see that abbreviation. If this one doesn't have hyperlink, yeah, this one has. So when I go to this one, I double click on this, you can see how it works. DA command GLS, which is for glossary, and DAW. So I just copy that one. This is in page 5. I go to page, let's say, here, for example, page 2, and I want to put it here. And another glossary, which is, I want to use it here, for example. And that one, I want to recall what was the name. This one is here. Go to my thesis. It was CPF. I should use this. The other one was DAW lowercase, and I need to use CPF to modify that one. So I just changed the tag to CPF, tag or label, whatever you call it. So when I compile it, I should expect to have this CPF added to this list. And also, since I use this glossary in another page too, it should be added to this 5 as well. So let's see how it works. So when the compiling is done, so I have this CPF with the cell name that I selected at page 2, CPF. And also I have that DAW at page 2 as in addition to page 5. So in this way you are going to use those glossaries that are defined in this my thesis text file in here, and you can add it accordingly, right? Okay, this is the list of abbreviations and introduction. I told you about the equation. For the introduction, when you double click on that, it will direct you to this chapter 1, and the name of the chapter 1 is Introduction, and also you see the citation. So in the previous one I told you how to cite the actually references. You can use cite P in this template instead of cite, and it works the same way. So if I just go to the bib file, I should be able to find this tag. So I just click on that and I can find that tag here, right? So I can, the same way that I told you, you go to Google Scholar and find the BibTeX file. So for the ones, I just repeated one more time. I go to Google Scholar and let's go with one of these. I click on Cite, I go with BibTeX, I copy this, and I just paste it here in my bib file, and I just take this and I go to the text wherever I want. Let's say here. Let's say I want to put it here. So I go with cite P, and I just paste the tag that I want, that I have. And in the references, I just want to go to that page so you can see how it will be added to the list of references. I have 3 so far. When I compile, I should be able to see this one here in the bibliography that is added to the list, right? This reference is added and it's in the alphabetic order. So since it's S, it will be at the end. And when I double click on this one, it will direct me to the text here. So it seems it doesn't. So I go directly to the text next to that equation, after the equation actually. Yeah, here. So when I zoom in, you can see how it looks like. So this is the APA bibliography style. It's going to look like this in your thesis. Later, I will show you how to make this as numbered referencing. It's a little complicated. I will go through it at the end of this tutorial. Okay, what else I should mention? So we went with the abbreviations, and I want to show you the effect of floats here. So in the table, I double click on that. It will direct me to this chapter and the table. So let's say I want to put the caption at the bottom of the table, which is unusual, but I just do it to show you how it works. So I just select the caption, I cut it and put it at the end of this, after begin adjust box. I go to after and adjust box, Control Enter, and you can see that the table 2.1 will be down here, table 2.1. So I want to put it back, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, it's back, Control Enter, and it will be back to normal. Yes. Okay, so this is for the table. For figure, in this template, figures caption is before the figure, which is unusual for engineering students. They should have the caption at the bottom. So I just cut this one. As I told you, it should be after include graphics. And I paste it, I compile it again, and you can see that it is there. How I can import the figures or change the figures, you need to, if you want to put the figures to the related chapter, you need to copy or upload a photo here, and you can replace it. Let's say I want to dog photo, for example. Let's go with this one. I just save the image, and I can put it on my files. So if you want to upload any file here, you can just click on the chapter, upload on the related chapter, and you can just go to the related directory, drag drop, and it will be added to that chapter. So just be careful that you are selecting that folder and then click on upload. So I have the photo here. The format is different than this one. This one is PNG, this one is JPG. I can just change the name of the file. So it was figure 21 PNG. I can change this one to download, compile. So it is able to recognize in this template, it is able to recognize the format of the figure. So it will be changed accordingly. How I can change the width of the, actually size of the figure, it is based on the text width. So the total text width is this one based on the defined margin. So I can just put a multiplier as a fraction, like I want to have it as like
70% of the text width. To make it smaller, so I just put 0.7, so it will be like, it will take the 70% of the whole text width. So you can change the shape of the figure this way. Okay, what else I can tell you about the bibliography? I already explained. Appendix, you can work on it yourself. So the only thing that I should mention, you just double click on that, and it is in the My Thesis text, and it is in here. Import Appendix 1. So and these are, so if I go through the text file, so I went to the begin document, right? Yes. So begin document, we went to through this one to change the name of the university. Yeah, we were here. Okay, and then after this one, when we created the front matter, the front page, we go with one empty page, which is here. So I created this one, and the front matter, which is the PhD information, will be in this directory. So I need to import, since they are not in the same folder as this text file is, I need to import them from the other folders that are existing here. So I have two existing folders in this PhD APA folder. I need to go to the address that is mentioned here. So first I need to go front matter, which is this one. I open it up. Then I should be able to find the PhD information. So I click on that, and it's here. So this is how you can change and modify it. So, and if you want to eliminate that page, you can just comment it out. That's the only thing that you need to do. Then it will take this information as the next page, and also here actually this part is related to this empty page with this information. Then it goes to abstract, which is imported. Again, you can find the abstract in front matter, PhD abstract, and PhD Özet, which is the Turkish version of abstract. You need to modify it. And acknowledgements, dedication, and you have it. So I go. So in each file, you have those jumps to another page. So that's why it doesn't interfere with the previous page. So everything is inside those abbreviation and everything. So I go back to this one. I'm just explaining this stuff to show you how you can follow this. Then after this dedication, you should be able to see table of content, which is printed out here, and a clear page, and we have list of tables here. So you don't need to be worried about these at all. So the only thing that you do is to add the table, and it will, and the label and the tag and the caption, it will be automatically added to this list. So you don't need to be worried about these stuff. List of abbreviations, and that's it. So after this, I want to show you how to add a new chapter. So the front matter, you don't need to modify or change it. In the chapters folder, you have two chapters. So I can create a new chapter and modify it. And in my chapter 2, I have appendix, and chapter 1, I have only chapter 1. So let's copy this one, or create a new one. So on chapters folder, I create a new folder, and I call it chapter 3, whatever. It can be anything. Chapter 4. It's a 3. I don't want to go in an order. So in chapter 4, I have nothing. So I need to create, as I have it here, I can create a new chapter, or I can create a text file. So let's go with chapter. new folder, chapter itself, or let's go with chap. So I open it up, I have it inside it, and I can create a file, ch4 for example, .text, and that's it. So I have it here, right? And you can just copy and paste this text to this text file, and you can call it ch4, for example, as the name of the chapter. Okay, so let's see how it works. If I compile this one, I shouldn't be expecting to have chapter 4 here in my list here. Why? Because I didn't import it here in this text, right? So here, as you can see, I have my chapters imported, so I can do the same thing that I did for this one. Create a similar one, so I can follow the name of this one, chapter. In chapters folder, I have chapter 4, then I have chap here, based on this order, chapter 4, then chap, then ch4. Now if I compile it, I should be able to see that here, added to my table of content and also in the text. So I go down, I have chapter 2, and I have chapter 3. I should be expecting chapter 3, yes. So I just intentionally I put another name to see it, to let you see the difference. Okay, why this is lowercase, this is uppercase, all of these are defined in the template. So whatever you write, since the chapter name should be in capital letter, in uppercase, it will be automatically done. So you don't need to even be worried about these stuff. Okay, so we went up to this abbreviation, and page numbering are defined here is Arabic page numbering after this italic, the Greek one. Up to this page you have this Greek page numbering, and also here and here, but after the text is started you go with Arabic page numbering. So these are about spacing, page style, so you don't need to be worried about those. And here you can define the header and footer, but you shouldn't actually, but these are the comments that they define the headers and footers. The only thing that is defined is this, the page number at the center foot. So this is how it works. And after all the chapters that are imported and added here, you have the bibliography printed out here, which the bibliography file is this, should be PhD library, but not with the format, only the name of the file. So if you have another name for your bibliography file, you should change this one to be able to compile it correctly. What else? And you have the appendix, and the rest of the things here are not important. Okay. With the APA PhD style, so I just want to show you which packages are here. So if you need to know which packages you're using, so you can just go here and find it out. So one of the important ones is the bibliography style, and the new comments that are actually defined here. So these new comments are for just defining the type and the font type and other stuff. And it should be, for example, the chapter should be boldface, uppercase, So all the chapters are boldface, uppercase. This is where I told you that the lowercase will be changed to uppercase automatically. And the rest you don't need to be worried about. One thing, which would be almost the end of the tutorial, is for engineering students. So in some cases, your supervisor might tell you that you need to go with the, I don't know if the university accepts it with this template or not, but if they ask you to add some nomenclature, for example, here the nomenclature is not included. So you have a list of abbreviations here, but there is no nomenclature. Here I'm going to show you how to create a nomenclature in your thesis. You just need to follow the things that I'm going to tell you and add them to your actually file. You go to your main text file, which here is my text, my thesis, and you can just pause the video here and just find out what I'm just trying to write, and just write it down there if you don't have it. If you actually, since I'm not going to give you this file, so that's how you can do it. So after the glossaries, before the begin document, you need to go to glossaries that I suggested you to separate it this way. So after glossaries, you can just create a new actually section for nomenclature. You just copy that, and I just leave it here for you so you can see that and pause the video and write it down there. I just explained how it works, but before, let me just tell you that it's using the nomenclature package, and these are for just defining different sections for your nomenclature. Let's say you have Latin symbols, Greek symbols, and subscripts here. So you are just putting a tag on it to be able to separate them from each other. And you don't need to be worried about this one. This command is to make nomenclature, create it. And here is similar to glossaries here, that you are defining a new glossary into, for example. You put a tag on it and you define it this way. See, for nomenclatures, you put a tag here to be able to add it to the different lists that you have. And also in the first curly bracket, you put the actually letter, and in the second curly bracket you have the definition, right? So you add as much as you want, and also this one is not like glossaries to be printed out here when you use it in the text. It will be defined by you, and it will be created in the list, and it will be printed out. So you need to be careful which ones you are eliminating from your thesis and eliminate it from this list as well. So the next thing to do to be able to show it on your actually text is to go after the abbreviations and add this one to be able to print out the nomenclature. So I just copy this one and go down to where you're actually printing your abbreviation here, because I want to have it at the page after the abbreviation. So I just put it here, right? And it creates a new page to go to not to have an interference with this one. Then it will add it to the table of content as well. So here it will be added to the as a nomenclature after this list of abbreviations, and it will be printed out after this list. So when I compile this one, Control Enter, I'm expecting to see one page added after this list.
Yes, list of abbreviations and nomenclature. So list of symbols, as you can see here, it's the same thing that you are creating here in the nomenclature part. And yeah, so all of them will be added. And these are for the formulas that you're using, especially for the engineering students and also the management students. This is for, and also it will be added to the table of contents as we have defined it that way. So nomenclature will be added here as well. Another thing that I should mention other than this nomenclature is to how to change the type of bibliography here. Since it's APA and you might have this situation that your supervisor requires you to go with numbers here. So it will be like numbered bibliography, and in the text, instead of having this hyperlink, for example, here that you have the hyperlink here, it should be shown as a number inside a curly bracket, right? As very actually engineering journals require that way. So I don't know if you need to do it or not, since the guideline tells you to go with APA format, but let's just explain how you can do that. So for changing the bibliography type, you can go to the main thesis text here, and after the packages, like the packages are here, and I can add it here. So you can add this one. This doesn't work with the document class book. That's why we are just using another document class article. You might get an error here. It's just a warning, so it doesn't affect anything. It is okay, so nothing will be changed in that document class book, but it just makes you it lets you to use this option for changing the bibliography type to numbered. So you just write down these stuff right after these packages, before these table of content. You define the document class to article as another one. So use package bib units, and default bibliography style should be this one, UNSRTNAT. Default bibliography should be the name of the file that you're using here. So I'm just going to change it to PhD underline library. The format, the .bib is not important. Another thing you need to do is to go to before end of the document and before the appendix. Since this bibliography is printed out before the appendix, you need to just remove this bibliography that you had at the end. I go down there, before appendix, I have this bibliography, PhD library, right? Since I used it up there, I don't need it, so I use default bibliography up there. So I just remove this one and replace it with this one. Right? Okay. And the bib unit I forgot to add. Use bib unit here. So I go with begin bib unit. Up to the end. And bib unit, begin bib unit. Yeah. Okay. Now, okay, the BIP unit begin should be inside the begin document environment. So I go with begin document and I just add this begin BIP unit. So it begins there and it ends before the actually appendix. So end BIP unit. And you have this. What else? In the APA PhD style, I go down there. So here I am using this Bibliography APA, so I want to change this one as well. I just remove that one and replace it with this one. Comment out, Control / and replace it with this one. So when I compile, I go to my thesis text and I compile a file. And what I expect here, I want to see these ones with numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. And when I go up there in the text, I can see the references with hyperlink and the numbers inside curly brackets. So if I zoom in, you can see it better. Okay, this is the whole thing that I wanted to tell you. I believe I went through everything you needed for your thesis. You can ask me your questions via email. If you have problems with your thesis, and we can set a meeting if I find some time for that. But you can find the answer to almost all of your questions in Google. So you just write down, for example, how to change the caption position in the figure. I don't know, how to change the space in LaTeX, for example, between the lines in the text. How to add indentation in a paragraph. How to remove indentation in the paragraph. So that's the things that you might need to know for other stuff, not for your thesis template, because your thesis template is what it is and you don't need to change anything. You just need to add the text, some figures, some tables, and that's it. The rest would be automatically modified and created. So you don't need to be worried about this stuff. Okay, I'm done with the tutorial. I wish you best of luck with your thesis. Again, if you are a student, try to push your supervisor to use LaTeX. If you are a supervisor, please push your students to use LaTeX during their study before they go to that last minute writing thesis. I wish you best of luck and thank you for your attention.